How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here. So the stock market is not having too crazy of a day today. S&P 500's up about $10, up 0.3%. The Dow Jones is actually down $40, down 0.15%. And the Nasdaq is up about $30, up 0.25%, with about an hour and 15 minutes left in today's session. And in this video, we're going to be talking more about the stock market, breaking down some technicals, and I also want to share with you guys the top stocks that I'm looking to trade as we're heading into arguably the most important week in the stock market over the past couple of weeks, as a lot of the big tech names, a lot of big stocks, big companies in general are reporting earnings. And as always, we're going to be talking about what I've been doing as of late in the stock market. So if you guys find value in the video, as always, hit that like button for me. Let's try to get 400 likes on this video, and check out all the free links down below in the description box if you want to be further connected with the Strive Smart community. And if you want 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $1,400, all you have to do is use that link down below, deposit $100 into the account, and you get 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $1,400. So let's get into the video here, starting off with the S&P 500, and we'll get some live action here again. We have about an hour, 15 minutes left in today's session. I'm actually headed to the beach in about 30 minutes, so that's why I can't actually film this after the market closes. But either way, let's get into it. What's going on right now? It seems like the bulls are actually taking charge on the S&P, at least, heading into the power hour here, which is the last hour of trading for those of you guys that don't know what power hour is. And that's a very good sign, because over the past couple of days, and we've talked about this on the channel, the S&P has been trading between 3,200 and about 3,240, that general area. And within that area, that range, let's call it, there's also been a sticking point in the middle, right around 3,220. And you guys can see that was a sticking point particularly yesterday at the close of the market. And let me show you guys what I mean by that on the intraday chart. Take a look at how yesterday we failed to break out of 3230 and rally up to 3220. We failed to break out and rally up to 3230, and we dumped heading into the close of the market yesterday. But take a look at what happened today. We actually gapped out of 3220, which was very bullish. We dumped under it at about 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard, which was bad, but ultimately we retested 3,200 and rallied up aggressively from there. We took out 3,220 again. We actually held it as a new support literally an hour ago, and we started rallying, which is very, very good. We ended up holding 3,220 old resistance as a new support, which is good news for the bulls heading into the weekend. If it holds, that is. We still have another hour 15. Anything can happen. But if this holds and we rally into the close, guys, and heck, if we even take out 3,240, which is the big resistance coming up, that's going to be fantastic, right? So heading into next week, we're going to be in a pretty funky spot. Again, we have big tech reporting. I'm not sure if all the companies report. We already had Netflix report yesterday, but we definitely have a lot of, let's just take a look. We have Amazon, we have Amazon reporting on the 23rd, I believe. We have Tesla reporting next week. Let's just pull up this 4-hour chart to take a look at it. We have Amazon, they're reporting on the 30th, actually. Let me correct myself there. They're on the 30th, so they're not even next week. But we have Google, they're also reporting on the 30th. We have Microsoft, they're actually reporting next week on the 22nd. We have Apple reporting, I believe, on the 30th as well. So needless to say, guys, maybe not next week, although next week is big leading up to the following week. But either way, the next 2 weeks are going to be huge when it comes down to the largest companies out there reporting earnings. Remember, a lot of the damage from the CV came in the second quarter, which is what these companies are going to report, and what companies in general at this point, not even the big companies, are reporting, and what we're going to be looking for, right? We're going to be looking to see how much damage was caused in Q2 in terms of the financials here. So keep an eye on all of those points. Going back to the S&P, if we take out 3230, guys, we've talked about on the upside here, 3300, 3330 is going to be the target. But again, this could be, a possible triple top. I mean, this could be many different things, which is why there's a lot of uncertainty right now, and which is why I haven't put a lot of capital into the market in terms of my trading account quite yet, because we're still in this range where we could go either way. Could this be a triple top? Resistance here on the 13th, 15th, and let's say this is the 17th, we get rejected again and start dropping, which would be signified or defined rather as a triple top. Does that happen, or do we take out 3240 and rally up to the 3300s, right? So there's a lot of different things that could happen here, which is what I'm looking for on Monday and next week in general. I'm looking to see what direction the markets pick. And taking a look at the Dow today, guys, pretty much consolidation. That's what I call today. Nothing too crazy. We're holding 26.6 as a support. It seems like that's good. We tested it earlier, earlier today at about 10:30 a.m. We held it. We also held it yesterday. That's very good. This was an old resistance back on the 13th and 14th of this month. So watch out tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, guys. I wish the markets were open all weekend. But watch out on Monday what we end up doing. It seems like we already are consolidating out of this wedge, kind of, which is good. So watch for the pop up to retest 27K. That's the upside target I'm looking at here on the Dow Jones in the short term. And very simple, if we break out 26,600 on the downside, if we gap down below that, let's say on Monday, that's not going to be good for the bulls, obviously, and we might be headed back down, let's say 26,300, 400, and if that breaks, we might be going down even lower, let's say 26,000. 25,000 flat, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see what happens Monday, and most importantly on Sunday when the futures market opens, we'll be able to see kind of what the sentiment is heading into Monday, whether we're seeing red futures, green futures, or just consolidating futures, right? We'll see what ends up happening there. And when it comes down to the Nasdaq at this point, we're seeing a lot of consolidation as well. This is a pretty good sign. Let me tell you guys, this is a pretty good sign heading into, these big tech earnings coming up, that we are holding 10,400, 500, at least for the bulls, right? We're holding in general. We've been holding in general over the past 1, 2, 3, 4 trading days now, roughly that area between 10,400 and 600. Well, actually 700. So for next week, watch for the 10,700 break on the upside. And maybe that even happens here in Power Hour. I doubt it, but anything could happen. We'll see. And if you guys are watching this now, you'll go back and you can see what ended up happening. But watch 10,700. If that breaks out to the upside, we might be going back to 11,000, especially if we get good earnings on top of that from tech stocks. I think we're going to all-time highs. But if 10,700 does not break, and let's say we get some more of, let's say, Netflix-type earnings from the big names, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, we might be going back down to test 10,400 because, let's be honest, Netflix, they didn't do too well. I mean, they kind of surprised. They missed on EPS by a wide margin. I believe they missed. Actually, maybe they didn't miss on revenue. Revenue might have beat by a small margin, but either way, they didn't do as well as people expected. And if that happens with Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon as well, if they don't really do well either compared to what estimates are, be careful with these with the Nasdaq, guys, and tech ETFs, tech stocks in general, because that could have an effect, a ripple effect that could cause this to go lower. So keep an eye on these different things heading into next week, guys. Let me know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on the stock market? Now, for me, what did I personally do today? I didn't do much at all, and this week has been a lot of the same. I mean, I I haven't been active that much this week. I've made a couple of trades. I'm in some swing positions, but I'm really waiting and anticipating next week, guys. And the markets are as well. I'm not the only one. You can see the markets are anticipating next week and the week after because of the consolidation we're seeing. The markets don't lie. Take a look. Nasdaq consolidating, right? Although we are green a little bit, it's still consolidation over the past couple of days. Dow Jones consolidating. S&P consolidating. So the markets are preparing for these earnings, and I'm doing the same. I'm being a bit more cautious. I'm more cash, and I'm waiting to deploy that cash when the opportunities present themselves. And as of now, I'm in McDonald's still. I'm holding on to those shares at 191.05. You guys can see I'm up a little bit on those right now. Nothing crazy. But in terms of open swing positions, that's the main one I have right now heading into next week. As crazy as it sounds, and I'd love to know what you guys are doing down below in the comments, but let's talk about some stocks here that I almost pulled the trigger on, but again, I have this cash on the sidelines waiting to add to these stocks. So the first one is Ulta. Ticker symbol ULTA. I'm loving how today we actually took out $202, 203, big resistance there, and we actually rallied all the way to 206.50. We hit a higher high, took out 205, which was the previous high from 2 days ago. I'm loving that price action, guys. That is pretty bullish price action to me, on top of the fact that we're out of the main moving averages. Here are the 180 SMA and the 50 SMA, and we're about to see a bullish cross here on the hourly chart, which simply means a smaller time frame moving average breaking out of a larger time frame moving average, pretty much crossing above it, which is why it's called a bullish cross. And in this case, the green line, the 50 SMA, is the smaller time frame moving average, or the smaller day moving average, and the yellow line here is the 180 SMA, the larger time frame moving average. So once these cross, that's going to be a very good sign, and it's pretty much happening right now. It's about to. If it pops on Monday, it should. And for me, guys, I'm looking at Ulta as a buy, probably closer to 208 to 210, especially if we break out of this big resistance from the beginning of July. And from there, and you guys know this if you've been following the channel, I think Ulta is going to be going to 220, 230. That's kind of the price range that I have on it right now. And DKNG is another one, DraftKings, that I'm keeping an eye out on. It's actually pulled down from 37.50 down to about 35.50 here from pre-market up until right now. So this could be opening up a nice window of opportunity, about 5-6% here. We have sports starting to kick back up. That is kind of why, it might not be the sole reason why, but it's a big reason why we are seeing, a nice little pop here in DraftKings stock. And I'm going to be monitoring it. It recently IPO'd, and we can see it also recently dumped under 35, which, ever since it dumped under 35, I kind of stopped watching it as it, turned more bearish at that point. But now it's kind of back to life. Again, we took out 35. We're back in the range between 35 and $40. And now heading into the close of the market, we're actually going to be looking to hold 35 as a new support. So heading into Monday, that could be very good if it holds that into Monday and into Tuesday. From 35, 36, we could enter, maybe rally up to $40. That's kind of what I'm looking for here when it comes to this one. And I alluded to Netflix's bad earnings earlier. And just because they had bad earnings doesn't mean that I'm not watching them anymore. Quite honestly, I might even consider buying this dip as more tech stocks end up reporting. We'll see, and especially if it gets back into $500, I think that's going to be confirming the continuation of the rally there, especially as we start to get out of, let's say, these moving averages on the hourly chart, which are acting as a resistance. So watch out for Netflix, guys. It's down about $80, $90 from its peak here. It could still rally. Don't be discouraged. Actually, not to say don't be discouraged, but don't just think that just because a stock had bad earnings, it's going to just crash to the floor right now. A lot of the time, people forget about earnings and they kind of buy into maybe the overreaction, and we can see some of that already occurring here. I mean, all day today on the intraday chart, we've been consolidating. We consolidated after market hours yesterday after earnings, pre-market hours today. I mean, we're straight up consolidating on Netflix. This is a good sign, and it could be possibly the beginning of a new base here for the stock before it ends up rallying back up. So a couple of other ones here. UPWK, although it's not fully breaking up quite yet, I'm liking how it's holding $13.80 to $14 right on top of that 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart at a higher low. I'm really liking this, but for me to end up entering a position in upwork here, I'm going to need to see a full-on break out of $14, and eventually, guys, out of $14.50 to $14.60. Honestly, I'd like to see it take out these highs back in the middle of May and back from the end of June. From there, I can see it going from $14.50 back up to $15, and a big resistance is around $17. So that's kind of what I'm watching for here when it comes down to UPWK. And some other ones here include Shopify, also reporting earnings this upcoming month here, or not this upcoming month, this month on the 29th, and they're down about, $150 from their highs. That opened up around 14-15% potential for profit. Ultimately, we're still in an uptrend. I mean, we're still holding the 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart, so this very well could be a dip buy. And for me, I'm going to wait probably until 960 breaks just so we can get out of this EMA on the 4-hour chart. From there, I could see it rallying, especially coupled with a good earnings report. And another one reporting earnings on the 28th of this month is AMD, and AMD is right at a big resistance at around $55, which is why I want to talk about it here today, guys, because I'm thinking if it breaks out of there, maybe in anticipation of earnings coming up in about 12 days, maybe we rally into earnings, this could be a very strong mover up to 56, 57, and the big resistance here is right around 59 to 60 bucks. So watch AMD. Another one here, NEO, guys. Oh my goodness. And I'm pretty happy about this, quite honestly. I'm happy that NEO stock is crashing, I guess you can call it, because it ran up way too quickly. It ran up way too quickly from $6 to $16 in the matter of a couple of weeks. That's ridiculous. So now we're shaking some weak hands. The stock's down 17% today. Thank you, right? And this is mostly because of Goldman Sachs, I believe, downgrading them to a sell. And did they lower the price target? I'm not too sure. But either way, you can see it right here. The rally in EV stock NEO has gone too far, says Goldman Sachs. So that is what's tanking the stock at this point. And I've been saying this. Did I not say this yesterday? If you guys watched my video yesterday, I literally said this. If we take a look on the hourly chart, notice how we were still downtrending. We saw a bit of a recovery yesterday, but ultimately we were still downtrending, and the peak of yesterday was at a lower high. It was actually right under the moving average, the 50 SMA here on the hourly chart. So we were kind of expecting another potential downside move, and the Goldman Sachs catalyst came in, and it dumped the stock, right? We ended up not breaking out of the 50 SMA. We ended up taking out the lows from yesterday pre-market, and now we might be going lower, and we might be going lower to my price target, which is around $8 to $10. I know it's a pretty general area there, but that's where I think NEO could end up bottoming and where I'm potentially going to buy some swing shares at. And to end off the video here, guys, Virgin Galactic up 12% today, up to $24 per share. And what happened? We got all the way to the mid-20s like I've been talking about in these videos. I've talked about how if we were to take 19 out, it's going to most likely get up to $25 pretty quickly, especially if 21.50 were to break and all of the dominoes lined up pretty nicely. And we did get a catalyst that did help spark this move. The new CEO coming from Disney. That is very good stuff. But ultimately, we made the move. And at this point, we're seeing resistance at $24. And I know a lot of people are getting FOMO with this stock, right? But patience will come in with this one because I'm thinking we're not just going to rally out. We could rally out all the way to $30 from here, but I'm thinking we might get another pull down, a cool-off session back down to the 20s, low 20s that is, before we rally out. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for here to maybe add some options. I actually sold out of my call options yesterday, left a lot of money on the table there, but it's okay. It happens, guys, right? As traders, this is something that we know. There's money left on the table all the time. But looking at this, again, I want to see a pull down before maybe adding some more swing shares to my position, maybe adding more options, contracts. We'll see what ends up happening. But ultimately, that's it for this video. Hope you guys did find value in it. If you did, hit that like button for me. Consider subscribing to the channel. And let me know in the comments, what did you guys do this week? How did you guys do this week in the stock market? And what are your thoughts moving forward here over the next couple of weeks? I'd love to know. And don't forget to claim your 2 free stocks from Webull, valued up to $1,400. All you have to do is deposit $100 using that link down below in the description box into the account, and you get your 2 free stocks, again valued up to $1,400. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, stay safe out there, guys. That's the most important thing these days. And yeah, have a great weekend. Peace out.